This Michelin costs $279, while this China Westlake tire costs $111. That means that the Michelin costs 2.5 times more than the Westlake. But here's the twist. In some tests, the cheap tire is almost the same. And in dry braking, it actually beats Michelin. So is Michelin really worth the money? Or is the cheap truck tire finally good enough? Let's find out. This is the Michelin Defender LTX MS2 versus the Westlake SU318 HT. The data source comes from Tire Review's Best All-Season HT Tire Test. Let's start with the results that surprised me. In wet braking, the Michelin stopped in 195 feet. The Westlake needed 196 feet. That's only 1 foot apart. For a tire that costs far less, that is genuinely impressive. It's the same story in straight-line aquaplaning. Michelin reached a slipping speed of 89.63 km per hour, while Westlake reached a 88.36 km per hour. Again, very close. So if you're only looking at basic wet braking and aquaplaning, you might think, why pay so much for Michelin? And honestly, that's a fair question. But braking in a straight line is only one part of tire safety. The bigger difference appears when the tire needs to turn, recover, and stay control. In wet handling, Michelin complete the lap in 82.12 seconds. Westlake took 84.7 seconds. That makes Michelin 2.58 seconds faster. But the more important number is in subjective handling score. Michelin scored 8.3, while Westlake scored only 6.6. That tells me something important. The Westlake can stop quite well in a straight line, but the Michelin gives the driver more confidence when the road becomes more demanding. And for truck and SUV drivers, that matters, because wet roads are not always straight. Now, we move on to snow, and this is where the cheap tire shows its biggest weakness. In snow braking, Michelin stopped in 59.6 feet. Westlake needed 63.7 feet. That's a 4.2 foot difference. But the snow traction is where the gap becomes much bigger. Michelin accelerated in 3.26 seconds, while Westlake took 4.44 seconds. That put Westlake 27% behind Michelin. This is the first major warning sign. If you drive in an area with snow, the Westlake is just not a cheaper version of the Michelin. It gives up real winter traction. And that could be a difference between a tire that feels control and a tire that struggles when grip is low. Snow handling told the same story in both subjective feel and lap time. Drivers rated the Michelin as more predictable and easier to place, with stronger front end grip and better balance through transitions. The Westlake felt slower to respond and struggled more once grip started to fall away. That showed up in lap times too, with Michelin completing the snow handling course faster and carrying more speed consistently. This is the first major warning sign. If you drive in an area with snow, the Westlake is not just a cheaper version of the Michelin, it gives out real winter traction and handling performance. And that could be a difference between a tire that feels control and a tire that struggles when grip is low. But this is not a one-sided story. In dry braking, Westlake actually beats the Michelin. Michelin stopped in 140.6 feet, while Westlake stopped in 136.5 feet. That means Westlake was 4.1 feet shorter. In dry handling, Westlake was also slightly faster, 58.6 seconds versus 59.3 seconds for the Michelin. So if your driving is mostly on dry road, city road, highway, and low-speed daily use, this is where Westlake argument becomes stronger. It is cheaper, it's not terrible, and in dry braking, it actually wins. For comfort, Michelin scores 6.4, while Westlake scores 6.1. So Michelin is just slightly more comfortable. But noise is the surprise. In exterior noise, Michelin measured 75.8 decibel, while Westlake measured 72.4 decibel. That makes Westlake 3.4 decibel quieter. This is important because many budget tires lose badly in refinement. But here, Westlake actually has the real daily driving advantage. So the cheap tire is not completely outcast, it has moments where it genuinely makes sense. Now, we get to the part most buyers miss. The purchase price is obvious, but the long-term cost is not. In rolling resistance, Michelin measured a 6.94 coefficient value, while Westlake measured a 9.33 coefficient value. That means Westlake is 26% behind Michelin. So the Michelin should be more fuel efficient over time. Then there is tread life. Michelin has a UTQG treadwear rating of 820, while Westlake is rated at 500. That gives Michelin a 64% higher treadwear rating. And the mileage warranty also favors Michelin. Michelin gives a 75,000 mile, while Westlake gives a 50,000 mile warranty. So yes, Westlake is much cheaper upfront, but Michelin gives you the better efficiency, stronger treadwear rating, and 25,000 miles more haulage guarantee. That changes the value equation. The Michelin is expensive, but it's not expensive for no reason. So in summary, is the Michelin Defender LTX MS2 worth paying 2.5 times more? From my tire expert point of view, it depends what kind of driver you are. If you are mostly driving in dry conditions and want the lowest upfront price and do not need stronger snow traction, the Westlake SU318 HT is more impressive than expected. It is cheaper, quieter, slightly better in dry braking, slightly better in dry handling, and very close in wet braking and aquaplaning. So for a budget-focused driver, I understand the appeal. But if you want the better all-round truck and SUV tire, I would still pick the Michelin Defender LTX MS2. It gives stronger wet handling, much better snow traction, better rolling resistance, better treadwear rating, longer mileage warranty, and more control. The Westlake wins the price argument, but the Michelin wins the trust argument. And for me, if this tire is going on the truck or SUV that carries family, travels long distance, and sees mixed weather, I would rather pay more for the Michelin. Because the real value of the tire is not how cheap is it on day one. It is how much confidence it gives you when the road gets difficult.
Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe.